What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. Make your next thing a big one. Yes, I book all kinds of parties. Lately, I've been doing a lot of karaoke jams, a lot of video dance parties. What's a video dance party, Keys Dan? Well, that's when you bring your televisions and you set them up, or maybe a video projector, and set up music videos as you're playing music. You'll be mixing the videos, so it adds a little visual to your audio, and everybody has a good time. You got stuff to look at. You got stuff to listen to. It just makes it that much better. Yeah, I enjoy it. And then if I don't have a music video, if I'm doing a wedding or maybe a 50th anniversary or some kind of an anniversary, and you want to have pictures of yourself through the years, I could put that up on the television screens. How about that? A little extra added bonus for you. Today on the program, speaking of extra added bonuses, it's Ames Hammet. Who's Ames Hammet, you ask? Well, you're going to find out in the next few minutes, so stick around for that. This week's shows, I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. That's my usual Friday night video dance party karaoke jam. They have a full bar, the kitchen's open, pool tables. In fact, they have a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to make some money while you're waiting to sing a song on the stage right next to me, you can go to the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, and be a part of the pool tournament. Yeah, that's a good time. It has been really good. We've been breaking out of the quarantine, as it were, because of the novel COVID-19 coronavirus. And, we're being very vigilant. We have the mask that we wear, and we have plenty of hand sanitizer. And, we tell people, wash your hands. I was washing my hands before it was cool. I'll tell you. And then, I wipe the microphones down after everybody sings. So we're doing our best to keep each other safe. Yeah, do that. All right. And it's still a good time. It really, really is. And then on Saturday night, I'll be at the Choctaw VFW for the video dance party karaoke jam. Now I've been doing the Choctaw VFW in Choctaw, Arkansas about once a month is what they've been having me go up there for. And that's a nice big room in Choctaw, Arkansas. It's kind of a small town right next to Clinton, Arkansas, which is a little bit of a bigger town, but it's so good. The people are nice, and it's the big stage, and it's a big room, and once again, we're trying to keep each other safe. So some of the smaller venues that I do, I haven't been doing them because it's kind of tight. It's kind of hard to socially distance each other from each other, but certainly the Choctaw VFW and the Rab in Conway are two places that have plenty of room where we can distance ourselves from each other and try to keep each other safe, because there's more than just COVID-19 out there. There's other germs, it's just the COVID-19 is the one that we don't have the cure or a real good treatment for. There you go. So that's the Rab on Friday night, 8 p.m., and then Choctaw VFW on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Yeah. And Choctaw VFW has the full bar, and they have pool tables as well. So come on out. It's a real good time. All right. I think that's enough intro for this What Makes You Famous podcast. Let's get into it with Ames Hammet. I get to Skype Ames Hammet. And if you're just listening to the audio version, I encourage you to go to my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN, and find the YouTube version. And you can see Ames Hammet's beautiful face right next to mine. All right. Let's Skype Ames Hammet. Skyping Ames Hammet now. That's it. No more echo. Ames Hammet in the house. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, well, all right then. You're in my broadcast software. The people can see you if they're watching the
Okay.
YouTube version of this, the video version. If they're listening to the audio version, they'll hear your lovely voice. Ames
Yeah.
Hammet, let the people know
Yes.
who you are.
I'm a Sheila Down Under, aren't I?
Well, that's
Singer-songwriter.
wow. That is the shortest Wikipedia blurb that I've ever heard. Usually when you pull up a Wikipedia of somebody such as yourself, Ames Hammett, you'll have a couple of paragraphs. One paragraph telling where you are, where you're from, who your people are, just an overview of who you are, and then we go into the body of the Wikipedia and we find out more, the meat of the subject, the vegetables, the flavor. Well, can you tell I'm hungry? I think I'm hungry. I might be.
Okay.
Ames Hammett, I know there's more to you because when I look at your social media, I think of like meadows and flowing things and just feeling good. Just yeah, just nothing but good feelings come my way when I peruse your social media. So Ames Hammett, give us a little bit more. Come on.
Well, I'm probably very much into mythical things, and that's where I draw a lot of my inspiration for my writing. And I'm into. I know. I've never been interviewed before, so it's my first time. So,
Well, all right. Think of your writing, and when you're writing
yeah.
something, what inspires you? Something has inspired you, and I guess I can ask the question that's on everybody's mind: unicorns, real or fake?
I think they could have been real.
So do you,
Yeah.
so do you think those two of the animals? If you believe in such a thing, those are the two animals that hid when Noah was putting the animals on his ark, and then the unicorns ran off, scared, into the woods.
Well, there could be a theory that they were poached for their horn back then. Who knows?
Well, okay, I've watched Legend. Okay, that's probably one of my favorite movies. Legend stars Tom Cruise, Tim Curry is in there. Mia, oh my goodness, I can't remember her last name, but I apologize for that.
Farrow?
Was it?
Was it Mia Farrow?
No, no, it was younger than her.
She's
Uh,
younger than her.
Mia something, but there was a unicorn and there was fairies and all kinds of things. So I know I brought up the unicorns, but you said mythical, magical, and that's the first thing that my mind went to. What mythical, magical things are you into?
The ancient world, just like romance and just a place to go to that no one else can erode or untouch. There's no negativity. There's no what's the word? There's just love there and happiness. And I do what I do because I like to reach to others. I like to tell a story, make them feel good in their life, or let them feel sadness. I found through expressing myself in song and in singing and writing. I don't do the whole song by myself, you know, but what I contribute, um, it allowed me to basically get emotion out in my life too that I wasn't dealing with back then, right? So a long time ago, music was all I had. I was so that lonely that the only thing I would listen to was music to draw that emotion out and learn to deal with it properly. So
Ames Hammett.
so I just
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, if the world is falling apart, you can make your own world, and this is something that as a creator you can do. I'm very jealous. I create these videos and I pick people's brains and I find out more about what makes people tick and why they are the way that they are. And I'm finding out more about you, Ames Hammett. And I know that you were into mythical things, and I've heard the music that you do. You say you don't do it all by yourself because your voice is
No,
very enchanting. It's really flowing. That the most of the music that I have heard from you, it's just stuff to it will take you off into a different land, and make you think
Yeah.
of different things. Was that your goal?
Yes, pretty much. I didn't do it on my own, and but what I contributed was basically great to hear that it's come off pretty well because of what you're saying. So that's a really good compliment I'm receiving. The first album, I've done 2 albums, so I've got them here.
Oh, hold them up.
Um,
Yes.
For Love, that was basically my way of reaching out to other people because, or telling a story, things that I love, make them feel good, make them, fulfilling a sense of loss. There's songs there for that. Then I've got Whispers, and that's and I'm working on my 3rd album. That's a bit of a secret, but I just like the escape into another world because when I get sick with what I have, I mean, lots of people have ailments these days. I'm basically in another world, and this makes that seem, creating a world that I can go to seem more pleasant. Yeah.
Well, Ames, tell me about For Love. How long ago was For Love?
For Love, I started writing it in 2014, and it took a long time to be produced. It didn't get finished in production till 2017.
Well, it doesn't seem
20,
like so
yeah,
long ago. But then if you think about all the things that have happened over the last 6 years, yeah, it is so long ago.
yeah,
It's a lifetime ago, even. But you
yeah.
started writing in 2014. What made you want to start writing music? Had you done music before
Uh,
in school and such?
uh, when I was a little girl, I would write stories. My mum gave me a small keyboard. I taught myself from what I learnt at school to, just reading notes to play Silent Night and all that on the keyboard. The wrong way, mind you. I did it using the alphabet, not the actual notes,
Okay.
or reading the actual keys. I'd line the notes up that and put the letters on, and that's how I started playing keys. But through unfortunate circumstances, and it doesn't matter because I'm back doing what I like doing. Um, I just didn't have the backing to continue with music. Things happen in life, and I started writing actual songs from poetry, learning poetry from a young age to writing songs starting at the age of 22. But then I went off in a different career direction because I was a single mum and I was trying to support my son. But he's all grown up now, so going back into writing instead of trying to think I'm not and trying to and being something who I am. I've learnt to be happier.
Yeah.
I think it's not about money. I mean, the money helps if you get it to continue on doing what you're doing. But it's not about money.
No, a lot of
It's about,
people, yeah.
yeah,
If you're a creator, you do it for the love, and then if the money comes, yes, that means you can put a roof over your head. But
yeah,
what I'm gleaning from what you said is you've had some heartache in the past, you've had some
yeah,
sorrow, and you've had some side changes in your on your trail. You thought maybe in high school while you were in school you were learning some music and theory and learning how to teach yourself how to play music and write music and poetry and such, and then
uh,
you had a child. Hey, mazel tov, how wonderful. you know
no, I'll correct you there. I didn't actually go on the path of using music, doing music later on. Like that pretty much stopped in my childhood.
oh,
So
okay.
I learned the mechanics of songwriting and everything through my own technique that I adapted from learning the basics of everything else. And so what I do, I don't actually, how I do a song doesn't actually have the music to it. And I actually work with composers to put the music to it. So, I'm pretty much more a lyricist and I structure the chords to go to the song. And so I'm the beginning of the song,
Okay,
unless
and yeah,
the other way around.
you
Yeah.
said that you don't do it by yourself. You have other collaborators. You work well with others, is what you were
Yes,
saying.
I do.
So, all right,
I can.
when you were a child, and for those that haven't figured it out by now, by when you saying that you were Sheila from down under, you're in Australia. Have you always been in Australia? In one part of Australia? What part?
I've been in Australia all my life. I have been to every place except for Perth and Broome, or on the western side
Hmm.
of Australia. Um, and I moved around a lot growing up for whatever reason. But, it's a long story, even confused medical staff. But, the amounts of times that I actually moved around. But I haven't actually set foot out of Australia. I would love to one day. I can't at the moment because of COVID. But the world, though it's not the most pleasant time for a lot of people, there's still a lot of nice people out there, aren't there? So, it's something I want to look forward to down the track. I've made lots of friends overseas, thankfully, to the internet and Facebook and Twitter and all that. Yeah. Um, so I just one day would love to go to the UK or the USA or Europe or wherever else, and just not just to spruik work or anything, but to actually meet some of these people who have been there through my growth
Yeah.
as a person, and just say thanks.
Yeah, well, you've had a journey, and
Yes,
you say that you've not been out of Australia. It's a very big place, but so there's
yes.
lots to see there. I've not been out of the United States of America. I've been real
Oh, yeah.
close to getting to Mexico. I went to Southern California, and I could
Where to?
see, the southern, part of the border of Mexico, and I've been to El Paso, Texas, and right on the other side is Juarez, Mexico, and I've seen it, but I've never stepped foot outside of the United States. And this is something that I've wanted to do as well, is to travel around the
Yeah.
world. That's something in your bucket list, in your uh, visual, your mind. You want to go someplace else, and that's what you do in your stories and in your songs as well. You do create those other places. Tell the people a little bit more about the worlds that you've created in your writing, in your songwriting, and in your regular writing.
Okay. Um, from Whispers, are basically, trying to capture enchantment. And, I wrote Secret Stairs. I wrote that based on a book in the UK that I haven't contacted them about yet, because I tried to contact Jill Barkland through the Facebook application, but I've actually found that she passed on. So there's no response, unless Wikipedia is wrong. But I had to contact the publisher. It's based on a children's book, but the song also takes you into another world. It's about going into a different space in air, up the stairs, and basically it's probably the reverse of what Stairway to Heaven is.
Ah, so you're heading the other way. Just maybe
So
back to earth.
you're
Okay.
climbing up, but you're not actually falling off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're making it to the top. You're making it to this other world. And then once you get to
Little,
this world,
little pockets
what's
on
that?
the stairs. Little pockets on the stairs, which is what the book is based on. So I wrote it for that reason. Then there's Crystal Ball. I wrote that as a fairy tale song. It wasn't as easy as what people think to hone in on a subject and say, yes, from a word, I'm going to create a whole song, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I just wanted to be a bit more feminine, wanted to be, that touch of class in an environment that's feminine and in that song, and basically say, will you notice me as a late, like a ladylike person,
Man, Ames
So,
Hammet, when
eh,
you start to write, and who would think that it's easy to write a song? I'm guessing there's at least one or two people that they can think about something and come up with a song in a couple of hours, but I don't think it's easy to write a song or even a poem. Yes, you could find two words
yeah,
that rhyme together. I watched The Princess Bride. I love that movie, and I remember Fezzik and Inigo Montoya doing rhyming and driving them. Oh my goodness, I totally forgot who the Inconceivable guy's character's name was. Anyway, well, Wallace Shawn is the actor's name, but I remember them rhyming, and
yeah.
someone as yourself can turn those rhymes into a song and make something beautiful. And man, I'm so jealous of it, but I appreciate it.
I couldn't, I couldn't be as creative as you to come up with different angles and everything for stories. So I take my hat off to you too. That's quite clever. To hone in on different words to
Oh,
explain. To get a story out of people. So that's quite a clever technique.
Oh, but it's your
And
story, Ames Hammett. You know yourself better than I do, and I just want to know about you. And so it may be purely selfish. And what I do is, in turn, I record these conversations, and then maybe someone else will find them enchanting as well, and they'll want to know
I,
more about Ames Hammett. And I already want to know about Ames Hammett. So if I want to know, somebody else is going to want to know. And so you grew up. You were playing piano, and you say that you cheated when you were playing with the alphabet and not necessarily the keys. I don't think that's a cheat. I think that's just one way of learning. Some people
yeah,
play by ear, play and never learn how to read music whatsoever. With guitar, with piano, but and I've talked to many musicians that are working musicians that are making money musicians that don't know how to read a lick of music. They play tabs that they learned
yeah.
from a book or from a YouTube video. But did anybody actually teach you how to play piano?
No, I'm relearning it now. Yeah. So but I'm a quick learner. I'm learning it the correct way. I'm learning from a book, and I am getting on speed with it all. But it's just something I always wanted to do. Whether I acquire it to my own other theory, the lyrical part of it, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's just fun. I just love it.
Well, I have
You
a
know.
full size piano in the other room. I cannot play
Yeah.
it, but my 14-year-old daughter plays like a whiz.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What are the songs that you learn how to play first, or do you learn how to play scales first, Ames Hammett?
No. How I've learned it is John Thompson's book is by numbers at the top. So I learned how to put my keys to the number to the keys by the fingers. But then I'm actually learning how to read the actual sheet music now. And, to do it scale by scale takes a lot of skill. So people don't realize that because it's not known. But for a pianist, from what I've worked out, you have to be pretty smart to know it scale by scale, the keys and how they all work and all the chords and everything. I just take my head off to them. You know, I really do. It's a lot, you know, you can see why they go through a lot of education and then create their own work after that. I've done it in stints, you know, and I work with composers that can do it. And, you know, one's self-taught and he's just incredible. And Jared Hascheck also, from the first album, For Love, he arranged all that music and he's just incredible. And same with Orion. I'm working with Orion at the moment.
Who's
And
Arian?
he's incredible too. So,
Oh, I love that you're giving credit where credit is due. Whenever I talk to people, I want them to give shout outs to the people that have helped them along the way. And you have people that
yeah,
helped you with For Love, and you have people that have helped you with the Whispers
yeah,
album as well. And it's just but you know, learning how to play the piano, you know, you say that you're learning using by the numbers once again without knowing necessarily the notes, but the notes will come
yeah,
as you get better and better. This
yeah.
is all fascinating. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm learning to read the sheet music now by the actual method that you're meant to. Pardon me. It's just my education with music, and you know, it was just disjointed because of all the stuff that happened. And I don't really want to go into the personal side of it because it'll make people cry. But you know, I just you know, for someone that hasn't had that opportunity to have a formal education in music, or you know, all factors of it. You know, I'm lucky to have had published what I've had,
Yeah.
but in saying that, I've taught myself, you know, the basics of the lyrics and how to do the chord structures, and I did that myself. You know, I was singing when I was young, training myself to sing, and it's just developed, and it's easier these days for me to put something to, you know, into being a song than it was back when I first started. So, you know, it doesn't take me that long to actually put a song together.
Well, Ames Hammett, for those that are just listening to the audio version and didn't get to see that you were actually holding up two real CDs. You know, I've never made two CDs. You have two produced albums out there. Was that something that
Thank
was
you.
produced and then distributed by a big fancy record label, or was that something that was self-published and you made those albums yourself? Was that independent or somebody else?
Yes, it's independent. So I go through digital distribution, but record labels, I don't know if I'm well known enough to have been approached by a record label. I don't know if they've heard what I do for me to have someone say, we'll take you on. I don't know, you know, if I'm at that age because I'm, you know, in my middle age. But I look young, so hey,
Yeah,
you
you're
never.
gorgeous.
But I don't know. I just like a lot of you know. I went to the studio, and they were great. Based studios in South Melbourne,
Yeah.
um, and it just went from there. So you know, I've not sure what radio station has played my song. I know which ones I've contacted,
Hmm.
but I've had some people say we want photos and stuff like this. I'm getting there slowly, and that's how I just want to build upon that, you know. So,
What
you know,
what
I'm open to working with others. I'm open to working with other singers. I'm open to working with other musicians. But I just love the industry. It frustrates me sometimes because it's, you know, the business side of it. I'm not a business person. I'm just a creative person.
Yeah, that's it, Ames Hammett. You're giving people gems. The creator does not necessarily want to have the business side. So once you get to a certain level, you're going to need some help, whether that be family. Usually, you tap family and friends first. Hey, could you help me with flyers? I have a show coming up this weekend. Can you help me distribute these flyers, or can you share it on your Facebook page? You got to let people know that way, and that's doing it all yourself. But the advantage of having a record label, I guess, I've never had a record label either, and I've heard horror stories about people that give
Yeah.
their licensing to the record label. The record label makes 90%, and you make 10%. So yes, they made $1 million, you made 100,000. But if you go independent, if you make 100,000, you make 100,000. You don't have to share it with anybody, and you still made that same
Oh,
100,000, right?
I haven't made a lot of money, even though I've been played overseas,
Yeah.
even though I've been played in America, I've been played on stations overseas. I've, basically in that research mode of what's working and what's not. I find that for, economically,
Yeah.
songwriting is not always the most prosperous industry to go in.
Right.
You've got YouTube, you've got Spotify, you've got all those. They're good applications. It's great that I get to be on them. I really appreciate it, but it's still hard to get out there and get known. And a lot of our, in my country, there's not a lot of venues that original songwriters can go to. A lot of it's cover work, nothing against covers or anything. It's just not that avenue. Pubs want the familiar sound, I think, instead of something that's new and upcoming, unless it's broadcast on TV, unless you have 10,000 followers, unless you have all the stats, the numbers to say, yes, I am popular. Will a label sign me up now? So, it's challenging being independent, but, it doesn't mean to say that I just have to go through that channel. There's other ways for me to make it successful, which I'm working on. And I wouldn't give it up for the world. People say it's a hobby. It's not a hobby. It's actually just my life. My son's all grown up now, so I'm free to do whatever I want. And I don't have a lot of family around me because where I live, I'm here on my own. And my son's actually off in another state because he's in the Navy. So, I don't have anyone to go around and do flyers. Can't always afford it, but I make the most of what I've got and I build upon it each time with each project. And, it's balancing out with economics. I can't get everything done all in one hit because doing music is actually very expensive. Producing it's very expensive the way I do it. But I'm not the only one that does it this way.
Yeah, Ames Hammett. Flyers have gone the way of the dodo anyway. Nobody ever prints flyers, as far as I can see. Most of the time, you make a Facebook event and then you share it all over your social media. Including your Twitter and your Instagram. That way. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been a bit slack with Instagram because I had an old computer and I linked it to my phone, and then someone stole my phone, so I got locked out of my email. So I couldn't use the Skype or anything. So I had to upgrade laptop. And it meant I couldn't use Instagram because it wasn't connected to Microsoft. So for everyone out there, make sure you have your phone or don't connect it to your computer.
I've heard horror stories about that as well. Whenever you sign up for things and it says, "Do you want to sign up with your Facebook or with your Twitter?" And people say, "Don't link them up to your Facebook or your Twitter because what if you lose that account? Then all the other accounts
Yeah.
are all null and void." Yes, there's been horror stories, and then just today I'm playing a video game and it says, "Do you want to link it with your Facebook?" Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. Press that Facebook thing, let it create create a bio for me, with the Facebook. So now if I lose my Facebook page, I'm going to lose all my other stuff as well. I
Yeah,
could
pretty
see.
happen.
Oh, the horror stories.
Yeah.
But did you
But
lose any?
it's
Go ahead.
all good now. So
Oh,
that's all sorted. And I'm basically, because of COVID, I can't go out and spruik it on the streets, do busking. I'm prepared to do that.
okay.
Um,
What busking
yeah,
with a piano or with a guitar, or how would you busk with a piano?
modern technology.
Oh, you have like a battery operated piano type thing, or
No, PA system.
oh, see, for those that don't know what busking is, tell the people what a busker does.
Street performer. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Street
Most of the
performer.
guitarists that I know, those
Yeah.
are the easiest ones. Somebody who has just a wind instrument or a guitar, something that doesn't require any electricity. Are the most
Battery operated.
yeah, those are the most mobile buskers. I know me as a DJ, I definitely couldn't busk unless I had somebody to provide power for me or a
Yeah.
generator. I suppose I could drag a generator around.
I'm a solo artist at the moment. It doesn't mean that I don't want to work with other people.
Uh-huh.
So for busking or something, it's generally a solo performance unless you've got a team.
Yeah.
But in the PA system works great.
So is that something
So
that you've done to kind of give you a little bit of extra cheese to make ends meet or to get your music out there? Is that something that you've done? And when was the first time that you busked?
first time I busked was actually at the Bastille French Festival.
When was that?
So
What?
I was there. That was last year, and I was behind. I was underneath. It was good actually. I wasn't used to, I wasn't used to the environment. I saw the Sydney Opera House for the first time in my life, and I actually sounded pretty good and got a few tips underneath the railway.
Yeah, I mean that's on my list of things to do is to go see the Sydney Opera House. That's such a beautiful thing. Whenever I see it in movies or on postcards, I go, "Wow, what an incredible piece of architecture!" Have you been into the Opera House, or you just saw it from afar?
I saw it from afar. I did walk around near it. It depends on the parking meter, though, doesn't it? Because it's you don't have a lot of time in Sydney on the parking meters. Where I parked anyway. Because I wasn't familiar with Sydney, I drove up there, and it was the first time I'd seen the city, and it's just so pretty. The old buildings. I prefer old buildings. Some new buildings are really amazing,
Mhm.
but I like the history of the architecture and the Sydney Opera House. I thought I was going to be singing near it when I was driving there, and my legs were going like jelly at the thought, thinking, oh God, there's going to be all these people that I'm not used to.
Mhm.
So, branching out for the first time in live performance, it's not as easy, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And, I've been going to open mics to prepare for live performances. And, it goes okay. It goes really well. It's a lot of fun. But I can't because of COVID.
Well, you're closer to Melbourne, right?
Um, you've done your research, so
No,
yes.
you said that earlier. I listened.
Oh, did I? Can't remember. I'm not loopy at the moment, but you can cut that bit out.
No.
I am closer to Melbourne by 4 hours, 3.5 to 4 hours drive. Sydney is 5 hours. And Brisbane, I was in Brisbane some years ago, and I drove all the way down from Brisbane. I didn't have proper rest, because I was on the poverty line and didn't have money for a hotel. And it actually took me just 24 hours just to drive from Brisbane all the way down to Melbourne. And, I did it in one piece. So, yes, it takes a while to drive around here.
Oh, that's
To get to
amazing. It's so big that there are so many things to see. I'm here in Conway, Arkansas. I'm from Miami, Florida, and I know that it takes 20 hours to drive to Miami, Florida, and the Florida Keys will be just another hour or two. So yeah, I've done that drive myself. The 20-hour stretch, stopping only for fuel and potty breaks, and that's it. But my goodness, and you did that by yourself?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing. And good on your
Did you do it by yourself?
I did. I did one time, and then I've done it with my wife as well. So, but
Yes.
what kind of car are you driving?
Not anymore.
Well, what were
I
you
was
driving at the time?
I was driving a Holden Barina.
I don't even know
Go
what
the
that
Holden.
is. What's a Holden
Um,
Barina?
Holden, don't you know Holden? Is GMT Motors? GT, is it GT? It's an American car, isn't it?
A Holden? No. All I've seen is Mad Max. Those are the cars they drive over there, right? When Mel Gibson was driving. Well, I know what a Ford is, but I've never heard of a Holden. No,
General Motors.
How about that? There must be different cars over there in Australia. I imagine there are.
We get a lot from the Asia Pacific now. Our industry shut down, so but I don't drive anymore.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Is
So
there a reason for that, or do you not want to get into it?
it's a bit personal.
Okay, all right. There's some things going on in your life that have struck some chords. There's some happiness and some sadness, and hopefully the happiness has outweighed the sadness. Hey, but bring on the happiness.
Yeah, bring on the happiness.
Yes.
I love happiness.
Yes.
I love fun. Yeah. So no, I actually had a car accident, and I decided not to drive anymore for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a motorcycle accident February 22nd, 1987, and I've not been on a motorcycle out on the streets since. So ever since then, so I can imagine. I feel that pain, that horror. So it was a pretty bad accident then.
Yeah. I really feel for you. I really understand. Motorbikes are pretty dangerous, not because of motorbike drivers, because just generally some drivers in cars don't give way to motorbikes, or I've actually seen a motorbike accident.
Yeah.
And my dad actually died on a motorbike. So, yeah, sorry.
No, I understand completely. But
Yeah.
Ames Hammet, you say you were in a car accident, and I'm guessing it was a pretty bad car accident for you to never want to drive again.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I had been driving through Albury, and I got scared by another driver tailgating me, road rage. So I ended up driving all the way to another part of Victoria, speeding because I was just very frightened, and going to my son's house, and just ended up losing control.
Wowie. Oh my goodness. And I could see how that would spook you off of driving for good. So, how do you, are there
Yes.
stores around? Okay, I know that you've mentioned the COVID, and for those people that are listening 10 years into the future, and maybe this is the only time capsule that they hear, we're in this novel COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic thing that's going on that has stopped the whole world.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure out how to deal with it. Some people think, oh, it's just a bad cold, and some people think it's the plague. So somewhere down the middle is where it is. But the one thing that's for sure is we don't have a cure for it, and we don't have a really good treatment for it. So be mindful, all that thing. And every time somebody coughs like that, oh, I think you got the COVID. Are you okay? Put a mask on. Are you all right? No. How is it in your area? You're not in Melbourne anymore. Okay, and if I look at your Facebook page, it says Albury, New South Wales, Australia. Is that a
Yes.
smaller town or is that a big town? Is there a lot of shopping around?
There is shopping around. It's 100,000 people here.
Respectable.
So it's not exactly a big city, but
Mhm.
it's big enough to have your necessities.
Mhm.
And COVID has been pretty much, I'm over the border. I'm on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. So in New South Wales, we don't have to wear masks at the moment. We can go out and do shopping or go to work or something like that, but we're to social distance.
Yeah.
In Victoria, it's stage 4. I'm yet to find out what exactly that is because there's been a lot of increasing cases there. I'm not allowed over the border.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So where you are they keeping it to? Are you still working outside of the house, or primarily you're working completely from home now?
Oh, this is no different to my usual pattern. I work from home. The only difference is I can't go to piano lessons, and I can't go out and busk. The music industry has actually been hit pretty hard. Hopefully, the grants will be flowing through for them soon. The government's been pretty good there, finally. But with JobKeeper and job seeker payments, and you know, um, it maybe might not have reached some other people.
Hmm.
But for songwriters and that, he's put forward a package, and I'm yet to hear about how to apply for that.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's the Prime Minister. But, the COVID thing has hit the music industry. There's no bands at pubs. There's very limited music in the street. But the good news is that the shops haven't reduced in their ability to sell
Okay.
um, instruments or anything like that. So that's a plus. At least they haven't been shut down or affected by it as much as other people in the industry. So there's some hope there that you can continue on music, but you have to do it in your own home,
Hmm.
unless you're in New South Wales where you can go to lessons. But my teacher's actually in Wodonga, so she can't get to me, so that's why I'm teaching myself.
Well, I like that. I like the name Wodonga. That's a
Yeah.
fantastic name for a place. No, and I see. I'm guessing that the states in Australia are very similar in that respect to the states in America. Every state in this union seems like they have their own idea of how to combat this, how to deal with it. Some states have completely locked down, like New York. I mean, that place has more people walking through the streets and on top of each other than any other place, really, I think, in the world. And so their idea was to completely lock down. And I think it was the right idea for them because they're down to very few, cases of COVID-19 and the like. But here in Arkansas, it almost feels like it was business as usual. barring a few things where we're keeping the social distance, and now, months after this started, we're putting the masks on if we go in someplace. And for me, I've been able
Okay.
to DJ and karaoke shows for the past few weeks, and we've been very mindful and keeping away from each other. I feel for the artists though. I know that the creatives have been finding other ways to create. Do you have instruments in your house that you can play? You have the piano or keyboard or that you can play?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Now, a lot of them had been doing concerts online and maybe putting out a PayPal or a Cash App or some kind
Yes,
of
they
a
have been
Venmo.
doing that.
Oh, you have?
Uh, it's they have been doing that. I haven't been doing that so much. I'm doing videos
Mhm.
because I've only recently upgraded my computer software and laptop because the other one I think had a virus on it, and it was weird because the cursor would go right in the corner of the screen, so I couldn't type, and I couldn't, and because of I didn't have Skype or I didn't have a good camera on my, it was an old Dell secondhand laptop that I bought,
Mhm.
and it just wasn't functioning. So it really made things quite restricted for me in being able to do things like that during the pandemic. But now that I've got the equipment, I've haven't sort of I don't know, done a live one yet.
Mhm.
I'm yet to do one. It's just confidence. It's just getting my voice right because I get asthma, I get chest infections. Sometimes I'm quitting cigarettes, so I'm one of those ones that are prone to the possibility of getting sick with COVID. So, I've basically been isolating myself, concentrating on getting better because I've been on antibiotics for about 2 weeks,
Oh.
2 to 3 weeks, and just so I can sing because, smoking is not a good thing. And, I worked as a nurse as well. I was a nurse beforehand. I was a mental health nurse. I also worked in aged care. And been a lot of people sick here from what I've known in Australia, having gone from Brisbane to Adelaide to Melbourne to Sydney. There's a lot of people sick with flus. There's a lot of people sick with, bacterial viruses, and it's been the benefit of having everyone locked down is great in a manner
Mhm.
because I'm no longer going to a store and there's not a person there serving me sick and passing on their bacteria back to me
Yeah.
and making me sick because that's been probably a barrier to being able to perform is getting the seasonal flu on top of chest infections that people get these days. It's not easy for performers to sing when they've got a croaky throat. So, it's just, I think it helps people to get on top of it. And hospitals here don't treat you for the flu unless it's really bad. And so you're relying on going to GPs to get the antibiotics you need to basically defend yourself against the bacteria because it's just the immunity is not there anymore, in a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ames Hammett, you're giving people gems, and what people haven't figured out ever since COVID-19 took the front page news, the headlines of all the, the front lines. They don't realize, there's still the other diseases are still out there. You can still get a cold. You can still get a
Yeah.
flu. The other flu. You can still get other things. Do you think the germaphobes had it right? No shaking hands, and maybe washing up. And I commend you for being a nurse. I was an EMT for a long time, so washing my hands is something I've been doing for years now. I've been doing it since
Yeah,
before it was cool.
I agree. Because it's just you don't know if someone's gone to the toilet and not washed their hands and they're passing those germs on to you. You don't know if they're, sorry to be paranoid, but
Mhm.
you don't know if they've got hepatitis. You don't know if they've got syphilis.
Mhm.
And I know it's only set blood transmission or anything.
Sure.
You don't know if they've it's just things like that. It's just being hygienic and clean
Yeah.
and looking after yourself. But the barrier to that for some people is especially homelessness, right? People don't have the sanitation, so they get sick. And, multiple sicknesses um, decrease the immunity. I think if you're exposed to one germ and then your body can't fight it, or you pick up another germ at the same time, it's just a hypothesis, of picking up different bacterias at the same time. I don't know if it works like that.
No, you have some medical knowledge. I have just enough medical knowledge that I
Yeah,
remember from those days to be dangerous to myself and probably others around me. So everything I get, I try to read up on it. I try to learn more about it. I'm hearing things that Dr. Emmanuel from Africa, she's still using hydrochloroquine, and perhaps our president Donald Trump might have been right, using hydrochloroquine, which is a cure for malaria and other diseases. So, I mean, my goodness, there's so many theories coming at me, so much information. I don't know.
well, me myself, having done nursing, I don't think and not being in nursing at the moment and not seeing the evidence of people recovering or anything, I don't think I have the right to base an opinion about whether a medication works or not,
Right,
unless I see the evidence myself
right. I'm
and
a
the
moron. I don't
case
know.
studies through journals. Yeah. So, through this whole thing, I'm being realistic. I'm taking it seriously because there's been people that have died from it, just like the flu. People die from the flu. The elderly in aged care. My mum was a nurse as well, and she stipulated that even though you have your main illnesses, say that organs are affected or it's diabetes or something, it is influenza or it's the flu that they actually die of, just things like that, in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Uh,
So,
So
yeah.
having that knowledge in your heart, it's got to be closer to your heart. You take it more seriously than the average person would. And me, you're talking
I don't know.
about washing hands and stuff. I've really never been much of a handshaker. I'm kind of a fist bumper.
Okay.
And how are you doing? Jazz hands. I'm good. Everything's fine.
Well, I don't think I know. I don't think I'm, thinking differently to any better than anyone else. I'm just taking the advice. I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm glad I'm not, because when I was working as a mental health nurse, and going from hospital to hospital, I was actually picking up the flu from other patients, getting sick, going on antibiotics, recovering, going back to work, and it's not easy to function when you're getting sick
Oh yeah.
with flu. Knocks your head around. You can't concentrate. So I think the best, in Australia, people are taught that work is the priority, to be at work whether you're sick or not. And I don't think that that's been working for people. I
Not a
think you
lot of
have to
people.
stay home. Yeah,
The poor
I
doctors
think,
and nurses, the essential people, are still having to go to work. The people that deliver your packages still have to go to work. The food
yeah,
service workers still have to go to work. But thankfully, there's been provisions to where other people can stay home and such. But the one that's really been hit the hardest is definitely the musicians. You definitely touched on that, where people can't do
yeah,
gigs, even the
yeah,
simple busking where you go it's not a formal gig. It's something that you set up on your own, to make a
Yeah.
couple bucks in a hat. And that's something that you can't even do now. Now, you said you don't have a camera. Whatever camera you're using right now, is this on your phone, or is this your new computer?
A laptop.
Oh,
So I've upgraded because I came into money recently.
hooray.
So things, yeah. So I got a tablet so I can do things again. Videos and everything. It's I can use the laptop. My phone camera is not working properly. It only it doesn't capture the best pictures either. It makes my note. I think it's got a magnifying glass in the. It's the way I explain it. Maybe it has a magnifying thing in sphere in it, programmed in it, so it makes my nose look bigger than what it is. So
That's what I
I
tell the
don't know.
people when I'm on TV. And whenever I do a television show, I say, the camera and's about 300 pounds. That's
Yeah,
why I
it
look
does.
like this. So bloated.
Yeah. It's just someone took a photo of me on my phone and it made my head look big and my body look small. And I just didn't want to post it online.
That's one of those fantastic
So,
creatures that you've been writing about. It could be inspirational to you. Post it online. Write a story about it. This is the fantastical Ames Hammet. Uh, what's the magical power you have?
yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit self-conscientious about how I look. If my nose looks protruded, people might get the wrong impression of what I look like. Hey, I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
You're your
But
own worst critic. But now that you have this good recording equipment, I suspect that I'm going to be seeing on your Facebook feed, on your Instagram feed, on your Twitter feed, all these different videos coming up. Is that coming up soon? You'll be playing some music for us.
another day.
Hmm. No, yeah, not
Yeah,
not now, not for sure, or
yeah,
even reading some stories. I can imagine hearing some of your stories to get me through my day, as I listen to podcasts all day long, sometimes 7 to 10 hours in a day. So if you could read your stories aloud in your voice, because I can listen to your Australian accent all day long for
I
sure.
I can listen to yours.
Oh,
It's very pleasant.
hooray!
Thank you. So yeah, no, you're right. um, down the track. I'm not prepared for it today.
No, of course not. Oh.
So I get a bit get butterflies.
I like butterflies. No, no, I hardly ever have anybody play music or read any of their stories. This primarily is a getting to know you, because the people can go to your online, your social media, and find out, hey, well,
Yeah,
this is the finished product. I'm finding out, what makes you the way you are. Why do you write uh, stories that are fantastical?
you'd be
Why do you
very
write
good.
songs that make you feel like you're in another world, another place? They're perfect for,
Yeah,
maybe one of those elf movies, or one of these gnome movies. I could
yeah.
imagine them being a soundtrack to one of those stories. So I can
Um,
imagine that.
I have actually been writing for film. The next CD specifically too. Whether I get to do that, whether that actually happens, it's up to me to find out in the future. Network with people and just try and put my foot forward. I'm focused. I've gone through a bit of a downtime like everyone else, trying to get my head around everything,
Yeah.
trying to look after my own health, my house, I do it on my own, everything in my life, and then just like anyone else, I mainly spend most of my time on music, learning and writing lyrics and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, Australia is such a big expanse. We've already talked about that. There's so much
Yeah,
different land and different terrains and landscapes. so many production companies, movie production companies, and even music video production companies have come to Australia because of that terrain. Have you thought about putting your stories to film and then your music to soundtrack those films?
I will see down the track. I will see. I've got a few ideas of what direction I want things to go. But I focus, doing it one step at a time. I think, instead of overloading myself, because if I overload myself, I'm bound to have a breakdown again. But you got to do it bit by bit, unless you've got a team. But I work alone at the moment, so bit by bit,
Well,
baby steps.
do you write down the ideas that you want? What goals you have? Are you one of those people that will write what was your 5-year plan? Because those people 5 years ago that said, "Hey, my 5-year plan, I'm going to be doing this," they were all wrong. Every one of them was wrong because 5 years ago nobody was thinking they were going to be in a pandemic. That's for sure. No, but
No,
do you write down your goals?
no, I don't. I keep them in my head
Okay.
because you can use them as a guide, and create steps to get to those goals. But it depends. But life is funny because there's all these outside influences that can stop things like that from happening, whether it's people, whether it's germs, whether it's whatever. So life is to me, life is like a one of those spirals. Yeah.
Well, my time capsule is all these recordings that I've been making. But I find
we
that people that write things down and then look back, oh,
Yeah.
10 years ago when I wrote this, I never knew that I would be here.
No.
You don't have anything like that, no records. I mean, you do have the two actual records that is a kind
Yeah.
of a time capsule of where you
Yeah.
were, in 2014 when you were
Yeah.
writing, and then last year when you were writing the second one.
It's in my memory.
Hmm.
When I wrote For Love, I was actually in a hostel.
In a what?
Done the hard yards. I was in a hostel, a boarding house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate circumstances, but it was because I'd gone through such a hard time that uh, there was nowhere else to turn. I'd lost my mum to cancer, like a lot of people these days. I lost my brother to asthma 6 months after my mum, and a month after my mum, I lost my uncle to prostate cancer. Um, I was also banned from nursing because of my mental health. For going into hospital, I'd made a few errors. I was starting to get sick because what happened was I actually had cysts in my ovaries, and I was on risperidone,
Hmm.
and it meant that I had cysts there. So I thought if I lowered my risperidone, I would get rid of the cyst, and that actually worked. But I went too low. This is very technical in science. I went too low that I ended up just getting sick and going to hospital again. But these days, I'm pretty much on top of my health,
Good.
and that's why I'm quitting smoking, because it interacts with the medication to create chest infections.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go around making people sick.
Yeah.
So I want to be healthy and live longer and breathe better. I gauge it by how I sing as whether I've got a chest infection or not. And I go on antibiotics to basically thin out the mucus. I know it sounds disgusting. Thin it out, get rid of the bacteria, and I get my cough reflex back.
Yeah. So you can clear
So
that stuff.
yeah. So I remember back in when I was living with my brother, I had a throat infection that bad. I sounded like a puma. I would roar. and it would actually sound like one, right? So I don't know whether I've picked up bacterias from being around people, whether it's because of malnutrition, whether it's because of, just whatever it is. But I'm recovering now. I'm still recovering now. I have a poor immune system because, one, I smoke. I eat blueberries because they have the best vitamin C.
Yes, they do. I've heard that.
Yes, yes. And chicken soups and garlic and onions and apples and fresh things when I can afford to cook all these stuff. Um, but I have a poor immune system because I had cancer.
Ugh.
Well, pre-cancer.
Yeah, I just say no to cancer. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
No, I don't want anyone to suffer from cancer either. So,
No. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're talking to
thank
me.
you.
I'm glad, I'm very
Oh,
happy to see your face, for sure.
it was pre-cancer. It was stage 4 pre-cancer because it was cervical.
Mm.
And so I was lucky that I had the treatment. We're lucky here that we have Medicare, but because I know in other countries they don't have a healthcare system. But I got over it. I'm over it. It was a long time ago. I'm over it, but I'm just focusing on my health. I've cut down to like 8 smokes a day.
Okay. I've seen a lot of people that smoke cigarettes that'll go, I really have to quit these as they're
Yeah,
as they're doing it. So I don't think
yeah.
there's a lot of people that think that smoking is good for you. It's just a habit. It's just a
Not
bad
more.
habit, I think.
Not Yeah, it is a bad habit. It. Funnily enough, say I look young for my age. I'm 42. Um, thank you. But it's not good for your system. And I've noticed I'm doing more in the house. I have more time
Good.
to
Well,
do other stuff other than sitting down and having a cigarette, taking a break, and being lazy, I guess.
okay. Well, that's
Um,
something. How
yeah.
how are you how are you quitting the smoking? Is it finding other things to do rather than smoking?
Yeah, it's finding other things to do. Champies,
What's that?
medication. Champies, medication.
Champeaks? Okay.
Yeah, CHAMPIX.
I'm gonna have to find
Champies.
out what that is.
Yeah, it's a drug that stops you from smoking, and that's it.
Yeah. I know people take the gum. Is it a gum? Is that what it is?
No, it's a tablet.
Okay.
So I'm doing a salesperson's job now.
Yeah. This portion of the
um,
podcast brought to you by Champix.
Champies. Um,
No, whatever is
but
helping you. That's wonderful.
basically, yeah. So I'm on that because without that, I smoke too much because I get anxious or something, or I get distracted. It's just a habit. You pick it up and you smoke. I'm not buying smokes anymore, and because of that, my breathing's getting better
Hey.
and my vocals are getting better. Yeah. So, it's not a good thing to have taken up in the first place, but I was too young and silly. So, yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, a lot of people started on it as a dare. And you say that your lungs are getting clearer. That's so funny.
Yeah.
The good thing about this COVID-19 is that people are driving less. People are going to factories less, and the air is becoming cleaner. So, I mean,
It's true.
for all the bad that it's doing, there's some good as well. For people
Yeah.
that look on the bright side of things, and I generally look at on the bright side of things, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and I'm glad that I'm finding out more about Ames Hammet. I know that there was a few things that I learned on your social media, but I had no idea, and I never have an idea of where the conversations are going to go. Everyone has a
No, me
story.
neither. Sorry.
Ames Hammet, you have a story. That's a wonderful
Yeah.
story. So, brag on the boy. You say he's in the armed forces, in the Navy, maybe? What was it?
Yes, he's in the Navy.
Brag on him. What job is he doing?
I don't know what job he does specifically, and I don't really want to say because I don't
Okay.
know.
He's a superhero.
If
I get it. He's
I,
a secret
no,
agent.
yeah, he's a superhero.
There you go.
I don't know what he does exactly, but it's fairly technical. He's just smart. It's to do with physics, maths. So he's very bright in that way. He said, I got one birthday. I got him an art pack, and because he would draw when he was younger, and I got him this art pack not to get him in touch, just in touch with creativity, but also to help him with what he was doing for the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned around and said to me, I asked him about it a couple, like 6 months later, and he said, I'm not an arty person. He goes, I'm a sports person.
Uh-huh.
And he sounded really, like he didn't have confidence. And I just said to him, that's all you have to be.
Yeah.
Because, people strive to be something they're not, or something that they don't think they're good enough at what they do, that it's enough for people. But my best advice for people is just be yourself and do what you're good at. Because if you do what you're good at, then you're going to be successful at it, whether it's, working or whatever. You're going to be happier doing what you're good at because you can complete the job.
Well, that's what you were doing for your boy. You were being a good mom. You were just giving him the tools, and you give him a guitar, you give him a pencil, you give him a pad, you give him something. Give him all the tools, and then whatever he appreciates, say that's what he's going to keep, and that's hopefully what's going to take him through the rest of his life. So that's what you were doing. You were being a good mom, giving him the good tools. Yes.
That's what I was say. Thank you. Yes, I was. It wasn't. I was a single mum at some stage. It wasn't easy, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for his dad either. But I brought him up despite having a bad relationship with, breakdown with the father for whatever reason. I tried to make it so he could feel free to love the other half of the family because they're a part of him and part of his life, and so he could focus on other things that were more important, such as his own development. Because I just you got to allow them to make up their own mind in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I have two daughters myself, and they're going in totally different directions. I'll tell you. One's very creative, and one is a little more analytical. So yeah, I
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely, and they're both going to be successful in their own right, in their own way, and they have to find their own path. All we can do as parents is to give them the tools, and that's what we do. And I'm glad that you've done that. You've done you've done all the things that you do, and the pain that you've had, you could turn it into creative projects. Do you think that they've inspired you in some way? The pain to escape, maybe as an making these magical creations? Is it an escape from the problems that you've been having, or was it enhanced by those problems?
I think it was a way to distract myself, to focus on something that, I was basically getting back in touch with my childhood and learning to be who I was meant to be instead of being something that I wasn't. And, I'm not the only person, I can't take credit for creating, unicorns or anything like that, because they're very, quite popular. They've been around, that myth has been around for quite some time. But my world is one of peace, serene, there's no harm to anyone. and I think that that's achievable in the world today
Yeah, Ames
because there's
Hammett.
yeah.
I think I was the one that brought up the unicorns. You know, your
No,
creations
you're not.
are your own. You know the
Thank
worlds
you.
that you create are from your own mind. And was it things that you were thinking of as a little girl? Was that the seeds were sown from the planting back then, or do you still have a lot of those ideas in your head?
Um, no, I think it's what is it? I think it's a combination of things I like, my values, my culture, and how um, to sort of be better than what you are in like be the best person you are rather. Yeah.
That's all we could do.
So,
Yeah.
because I'm not all that innocent, that I haven't always been the best person. Who is? I mean, everyone has the up and down days, but it's just basically doing what you love, isn't it? And wanting to share that love with other people for them to enjoy as well. So, yeah, that's it.
It's fortunate that you could find something that you love and then turn it into, something that could you may be able to make a living at, may or may not. Some people, try the music thing, and as your parents were telling you, oh, there's no future in that. You should, go, do something else that's more substantial, that'll provide more stability. But you have to
Uh,
follow your own dream.
yeah, I could give it up tomorrow, but then I'd be pretty bored with my life because I don't work in anything else,
Yeah.
and there's no job at the moment. So I've tried other industries, and it doesn't matter if I have to spend the next 15 years to be a piano teacher. I will do it.
Yeah. You teach the
If that's
next
the
people,
worst it's going to be,
the next
if that's the
generation.
yeah, if that's the worst it's going to be, I don't see that as a bad thing. I think piano teachers are pretty intelligent people. So, I just that's the worst of it. But if I can go write for a music magazine, or if I can, um, create a job myself, in create a new industry in music, a new job in music. I don't know what that would be, but I could create one maybe.
20 years ago, we didn't know what an MP3 was.
No,
And when I was a kid, it was records. Going to the record store is the greatest thing in the world. And now, what's a record? Grandpa, what's an 8-track tape? What's a cassette?
yeah,
And you're holding up 2 CDs. Even that's going away. But I'd like to hold a CD. I like holding that CD with the artwork and the liner
yeah.
notes. There's more to it. It's tangible.
Well, I could get those USBs and send them out to people,
Really.
but
You can't
but
put a
then
lot of artwork on there
no, you can't.
with a magnifying
Um,
glass looking.
well, you don't really want to get rid of the whole arts industry, do you, people? People don't want to
No,
do that, do they?
no.
No.
I like liner
So
notes and artwork.
yeah. So I think to pull something off like this, there's a lot of people working behind the scene, and it creates jobs. Whether I'm working or earning money from music, it doesn't matter because what I'm doing is actually paying the way for someone else's table, and it's about being part of a community
Yeah,
and making sure that community is okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the music community, at least here in Arkansas, all the
yeah.
musicians around here are very tight with each other. I don't know how it is there. When you go to a studio and you record things.
There's different groups.
Yeah,
There's different groups. Generally, they're all pleasant. They're all very skilled. They're just like me, trying to make their way through music. Some are in shops, some are teaching, some are, a lot of them are held back by COVID, just like I am. But yeah, there's a bit of a clique here, but that's cool.
yeah,
It depends on the age group, but it can be super competitive, even in this area. Music is because everyone wants to be the one picked for the label, right? So, it's just I'm more a team player. I shy away from competitiveness. I'd rather get along with people, but when I'm sort of, just working on my own thing, it gets frustrating when I don't get to perform it because of COVID or something. It really, really affected my ability to get out and promote my CD.
Yeah.
Some people still buy them because they don't have the technology that there is today,
Mm-hmm.
and they still like the CD format. Some people prefer, downloading it or using it on YouTube. I know that records they can be easy to step on and break, right? So that's one a way. They're great. It was a great invention, but it was breakable, and cassettes pull out the little plastic reel, yeah, and then it's to scratch it and break it. So, and then there was piracy from
Mm-hmm.
other people pirating all those artists' music, so they didn't get the money that they should be credited with. So, who's to say that the current format that's been upgraded isn't what's meant to be?
Well,
Because at least it may be a low wage to accrue. I've had like 3,000 listeners to or under that, 3,000 listeners to my songs just from the various platforms.
cool.
That's been counted. But that's not to say that I don't know who else has gotten to hear it. And to accrue the amount you need to reinvest in a business, you don't get that because it's the data stream. And it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop me.
Yeah. You were talking about these various forms of media as they get broken records, broken cassette tapes. That reminds me of all the terrible breakups that I've had throughout my life. If you
Oh, gosh.
if you have a bad breakup, they're gonna break your records. Oh, I want my records back. No, but
Oh.
that's the image that came into my head when you were talking about broken records and broken cassette tapes, because that's the first thing that the girls go for, because they know that that's my passion, that's my love, is all the music. But
Yeah. I don't know. I've never smashed a record over anyone's head, but I know my brother at the age when I was 3, I had a guitar.
Mhm.
My mum got me a guitar, but he copied all the superstars smashing their guitars, and he broke it. So that stopped me learning the guitar. Bless my late brother's, actions. It doesn't matter. He's more important. But
It's a great memory that you have of him. That's wonderful.
yeah,
That's fantastic. Ames
that's
Hammett,
fine.
you you're a good kid. I'm glad to know you. You say, see, yeah, I'm much older than you. I'm 51 years old, so I've been around the block a little bit longer. So yeah, you're a good kid, and you're very
Thank
nice.
you.
I
Thank you.
know I've taken some of
Gonna
your
be the same.
I've taken some of your time. Let the people know how you want them to connect with you and find you online, or what, do you have a website or anything?
No, I'm getting that rebuilt
Okay.
because the one I had wasn't the best. So I'm in between stages at the moment and not really promoting my work as much as what I was until I had the package. But that's coming soon. So I'm still in the process of actually getting awareness out of who I am. Um, but if they want to contact me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I have an Instagram account, but I rarely use it, even though it's so popular, because I'm just a bit shy of going live. in case I crack my voice or something. I don't know, but on a good day, my voice is as it is on here.
Yeah. I mean, I throw up
But
pictures on Instagram. I hardly ever go live on Instagram. I do that on Facebook sometimes, and YouTube and Twitch and all that
yeah,
other thing. So, do you have a YouTube
yeah.
as well?
Yes, I do
Oh,
have
okay.
YouTube. I go. It's just Ames Hammet, and I chose the name Ames. It's short for Amy, because that's my nickname, and it's AIMS space Hammet. So it's HAMET, and my name's Amy, and there's so many Amy's out there because of Little Women. Um, got popular.
So, who gave you the
Um,
nickname Ames? Do you remember?
yes, my brother.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah,
See, and you keep
yeah,
him alive forever and ever. That's beautiful, Ames
yeah.
Hammett.
Oh no, my other brother. I
Oh,
have two.
how wonderful. Okay.
Yeah,
And what's the other brother
yeah.
doing?
He's a store owner for four-wheel drive accessories, ARB,
Well, good. I like
and
four-wheel drive accessories for the
yeah.
Subarus.
He's a very smart businessman, and he's happily married, and he's got beautiful children, and he's a gem.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, you're a gem, Ames Hammett. I appreciate
Thank
you so
you.
much. I hope this is not the last time that we talk. I want to talk to you again
No,
as time
like
progresses.
I can be a bit shy, but generally, once I come out of my shell, you know,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
we've had a great conversation. And now, usually, I finish these things off with last words for the people. Ames
yep,
Hammett, this could be something that you've heard your whole life, maybe words to live by, or maybe just whatever pops into your head at this moment
yep.
in time. Ames Hammett, last words for the people.
Be what you want to be, not what others want you to be.
Well, there you have it, party people. Ames Hammett. Yes, the creativeness. She does poems, she does music, and just follow her on her various social medias. She will entertain you. It's very magical. It's very mystical. If you listen to her voice, it takes you away, it takes you out of this realm into a totally different realm, and maybe, gives you a whole nother possibility. And I don't know how a voice can do that, but it does. How the music that she sings can do that, but it does. And then the way she dresses and the designs that she makes and the flowingness of the pictures and photographs, the images, it takes you to another place. And I don't remember, man. I guess I need to listen back and figure out who said unicorns first. I think I said unicorns first. Maybe she did. Maybe she did. I don't want to argue. It's Ames Hammett. It's her show. It's her show. I don't want to argue. It was wonderful talking to Ames Hammett. Thank you so much for sharing at least a good part of your story here on the What Makes You Famous podcast. I appreciate that so much. Now, let me turn my attention to you, the loyal listener, the loyal viewer. If you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, radiowhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.